It is time to watch a trailer about the Warden and the Paunch. High Elves versus the Greenskins. I couldn't be more excited. Let's just dive in. Let's dissect this like we usually do. We're going to go through the Steam page and we're going to go through the FAQ, but let's just watch this glorious trailer. And I'll be pausing it as always to talk about certain things.
It has been many years, but this city will never be safe. Not whilst he is still out there.
So just already awesome with a very heavy Batman theme. With, oh man, oh, the Joker right there was great with the Goblin. Ooh, a little snotling pump wagon right out the gate too. And look at that. Little reference to the Joker as you see him just kind of leaning out the window or the side of this car. White Lion. So the White Lion chariot, I gotta say, the White Lions themselves, this White Lion doesn't quite look like that White Lion. So I will say that. They look a little more intense. They look a little cracked out. But I'm still stoked that those are White Lion chariots in a High Elf army. Oh, man. Another variation of the snotling pump wagon right there. And look at him. Look at him. Look at how beautiful Eltharion looks. Oh, man. And we have this awesome little Batman stance here on top of the rubble. Uh-oh. Oh, God, it's just the most disgusting belly I've ever seen. Oh, and Grom couldn't be more disgusting. In fact, like, he looks exactly like I did in high school. Oh my God, he is hideous. But man, is he beautiful at the same time. Oh.
A storm comes to Eltharion.
Some rogue idols of Gork and or Mork, depending on however they've done this.
It is my duty. Our duty.
More snotling pump wagon action, some more White Lion action. Now if we jump back just a little bit right here though, we'll see a new unit from the High Elves. And then boom, some Arcane Phoenix action, followed by another mage perhaps? So interesting there. So what you probably see is White Lions outside of the chariot, as if there's almost like a feral White Lion unit. And look at that, just swipe of doom. Look at that, just poor little pathetic goblin. Oh, look at Stormwing looking glorious. You know, without a doubt, Batman is my favorite DC superhero, maybe if not my favorite hero across DC and Marvel, next to Moon Knight, which is basically just Marvel's Batman. And it is awesome to see them take Batman and plug it into the High Elves, which is also my favorite Warhammer race. It's just like, it's just a dream come true. You know, and Eltharion, I don't even care that he's got a heart on his helmet. He looks badass. So, easily the best voice actor for any of the High Elves that I have seen yet just occurred with Eltharion. Like, he is super dark sounding, he is super grim, morose, a little smug in that last shot there, but I couldn't be more stoked for the Warden and the Paunch. Oof. I'm glad they didn't take any of my ideas from my video for the name of this, because I had some real shit ones. Let's take a look here now at the FAQ page. I'm pretty spiced up about a lot of the stuff in this video. Now, if it's not evident enough, myself and a couple other of the influencers, we have just received the keys for the game, so we'll now be able to cover this in depth. Well, we're getting the dates on our embargoes, so look forward to a lot of DLC content coming up in the next couple weeks here. What we can talk about, what we can't talk about, I'm not really sure 100% just yet, and I personally haven't even really looked much at anything. So we're allowed to announce that we'll be able to talk about certain things in the coming days. So we'll see as that kind of comes to fruition, what it is. But big badass rogue idol of Gork and Mork. Then we also have what looks to be a little bit of an archmage right there, supported by some spearmen in the back, Lothern Sea Guard because of the shields right there. You can see the new High Elf unit here, as well as that single individualistic White Lion unit, and we'll probably be able to take a look at that on the Steam page that we'll talk about in just a second here. The Snotling Pump Wagon, and looks to come in a bunch of different flavors and spices, so we'll probably be able to see some different variations of this as we progress through the game. And I'm sorry, I just woke up and jumped on top of this, so if I sound a little crappy, I'm so sorry. But oh, look at these lopping wolves for his chariot. Oh man. Oh man, this guy is so disgusting. Who likes goblins? No one likes goblins. Let's take a look at the FAQ here. So we have Grom the Paunch and Eltharion the Grim. Grom the Paunch leads the Broken Axe tribe, while Eltharion leads Ivris. So we have two unique legendary lords. Eltharion the Grim leads Ivris for the Blood Elves. Oops, wrong game. High Elves. And then Grom the Paunch commands the Broken Axe tribe of the Greenskins. The War Lions of Trace, the Silverin Guard, and the Majestic Arcane Phoenix for the High Elves. Multiple different flavors of Snotling Pump Wagon and Trolls for the Greenskins. And we actually did see those Trolls right around this mark. Pop that back up and take a look here. And we just briefly saw them too. Ah, I could just rewatch this trailer like 500 times. I'm going to do that. It's just going to be on the background here today, for sure. But I think that there was a little glimpse of some Trolls in this action, and I'm sure you guys will let me know in the timestamps below. I'm just too excited, and I need to just move on, because if I don't, I'll just stay on that trailer forever. So what we'll be also seeing here is a big rework. The Greenskins will be getting a number of updated features, most notably a rework of the Wa. This will be changed to an innate race trait instead of a character ability. Pretty stoked on that, so let's see what it means though. In battle, Greenskins units engaged in combat will generate Wa points to fill up a bar. When this bar is full, the player can trigger a Wa. Once the Wa ability is used, you should switch to an all-out attack and use that momentum to win. The Wa can be used multiple times, but each additional Wa requires more Wa points to unlock it. And I already out the gate like that change, that stance, because before you're kind of like pigeonholed into specific characters to get additional WAs, right? Well, now all characters have the same chance of getting WAs. It's just going to depend on, I guess you could, your fightiness, right? Like your ability to just kind of get in there and do a lot of damage. But I'm wondering if this scales. Take a look at stuff like the Well of Souls for the Tomb Kings. If you go wide, you get access to the Well of Souls quicker because you have a lot of units that can die fast. So if you go narrow as far as your composition of your army goes for Greenskins, are you going to have a harder time building your wall multiple times throughout a fight? So that's something I kind of wonder about how this ability is going to work. If I make an army of, the hypothetical numbers, 200 Greenskins versus 1,000 Greenskins, is the fact that I have 1,000 Greenskins and their ability to do more damage or generate more WA points something that will be a factor, or is it something that is just symptom of, okay, as soon as you have a Greenskin in combat, it will generate WA points, it'll fill up the bar, and that's all you got to worry about. So I wonder how that actually translates, and we'll take a look at that in the coming days. In a campaign, the WA is a faction-pooled resource which must be built to a maximum to enable WA invasion. To start a WA, select a target region and dedicate it to either Gork or Mork. A transported WA army will then support each of the available armies to occupy or raise that target. After a set duration, WA will end and your points will drop to 0. Based on the success of the WA, rewards get dished out, including a WA boost. You can build up WA points again to trigger your next WA. I like that way more. In the previous system, of course, you generate enough fightiness, and then you get a WA army, and the WA army just kind of goes. You can designate war targets, but it doesn't really work as well, and it just kind of just smashes its face against the wall and dies out. So I like this a lot more. It's a very targeted WA, because that was typically how it was when it talks about the lore. It would kill everything in the path through it, but the lore is typically like, okay, we're going to do this as part of our WA. And then the WA is targeted and goes to that location and destroys everything in that location, but destroys everything en route. So I feel like this is a little bit more true to form, while the last one was just kind of a little haphazard and not as direct and kind of just a wasted mechanic in my mind. There's also though, a new scrap feature. And the way the scrap feature works is that it's going to basically allow you to upgrade a unit, and it'll cost scrap. And this will be an upgrade outside of their standard upgrades from technology, or from, say, I almost said weapons and armor, like in Total War Rome 2. My brain is just screwed from that video right now. But each unit in your army will be able to choose and keep an upgrade individually. Each unit will have several different upgrade options, pushing the unit's existing strength or adding new functionality. Other Greenskin updates will include new character skills, unit improvement, Badlands map update, new start position for Azhag. So stuff is just all over the place right now. And then the free LC, you're probably wondering who it is. Bam, it's Imrik, Lord of Dragons himself. Not something I expected, because I figured pretty much that Imrik is essentially a High Elf Prince already in the game. You can make him with his Star Lance, with his Dragon Armor of Kaladar. You can already pretty much make him. So I'm very excited to see how they take the Imrik and kind of overhaul him to make him a more appealing lord than just simply, oh, it's a prince with a cool dragon. So we'll see how that works in the coming days, and I'll be able to cover that too as we're allowed to. Also, though, for the mount, it looks like additionally there'll be a free mount to download via Total War Access. Keep an eye on the Total War Access newsletter for more information on that. But the game itself will come out on the 21st of May. Right now, I probably do not have a download button for this, a purchase button for this, but I will have a Fanatical link in all of my accompanying videos covering the DLC that will allow you to purchase the Warden and the Paunch. It'll give you a Steam key, but it'll also give you a slight discount, and it'll give a commission to the channel. So if you want to support the channel, you'll be able to find that in the description of pretty much every video going forward that I'll cover of the DLC. Maybe not this one. I'll see after I do this video and put it up. But let's jump over to the Steam page, because that's where all the juicy info is. So we have essentially the backdrop of this fight between Eltharion the Grim and Tor Ivris, and how it really kind of comes to be. Long has Eltharion, the Warden of Tor Ivris, stood sentinel, ever watchful for signs of Greenskin incursion. While he campaigned overseas against the Druki of Nagaron in ages past, Tor Ivris nearly fell as the green tsunami of Grom the Paunch's legendary Wa roared through Uthwan. After defeating Grom and scattering his hordes, Eltharion swore that no orc or goblin filth would ever set foot in his lands again. So they're kind of reigniting that ancient grudge between these two. Let's take a look at these unique mechanics for the High Elves, because they're pretty sick. Athel Tamara, and as it was described from by Creative Assembly, Athel Tamara is essentially Eltharion's Batcave. That verbatim, that is what was their term. So when they told that to us, I think they were kind of hinting at how this trailer is going to be going. Very heavily Batman themed, because it's probably how they've been referring to it internally. But in a secluded Ivris mountainside lies Athel Tamara, Eltharion's base of operations. It lies in ruins, untouched since Grom's previous wall, but Eltharion seeks to rebuild it in Tor Ivris's defense. So Eltharion's campaign is going to be heavily centered around Athel Tamara, and essentially growing it and rebuilding it across your campaign. Eltharion can use his unique Warden's Cage ability against enemy heroes and lords in battle. And when you do that, you're going to slap them in Athel Tamara to essentially do with them as you wish. So should they fall under his influence, they will be imprisoned in Athel Tamara's for interrogation. And from there, you can get pretty much some abilities that will change and do things for your High Elf campaign. And with Athel Tamara, though, we get some different units here. We get 3 things here. The Silent Sentinels chain can increase Tor Ivris's defense rating and enable the recruitment and upgrading of elite Mistwalker units. plus increasing recruitment capacities for several unique elite unit types available to Eltharion. The Watchers of Ivris chain enables the interrogation of captured heroes and lords, improvements of the Mist of Ivris, and bonuses to Eltharion's influence. Through the questioning, vanquishing, and indoctrination of captives, Eltharion can gain useful information and other benefits. So, we get a lot coming with Athel tomorrow. We get some new units, it looks like, from this elite chain here, and then the Mist of Ivris. The Tor Ivris will become progressively shredded by an enchanted mist, enhancing all of the Eltharion's troops and disrupting enemies caught within it. Provides the unique army ability Envelop in the Mist, which enhances your troops' performance when fighting within its influence. Athel Tamara upgrade grants additional effects as the mist becomes stronger, and increases the strength of the Mist of Ivris, or increasing the strength of the Mist of Ivris will eventually cause it to cover all of Ulthuan as a protective aid, which is pretty sick. Directly out of the books as far as those mists covering Ivris, and especially the eastern approach into Ulthuan. And Eltharion will gradually build up defensive power at Tor Ivris as Eltharion's homeland becomes increasingly fortified against invasion. And he gets a special right of Ladriel for Eltharion, and the invocation of Aisha is replaced by the invocation of Ladriel, which empowers the Mist of Ivris. Let's look at the new units here. So obviously, we get Eltharion, and we know Eltharion from the book to be a hybrid caster because of an item. But it looks like we're going to be eschewing that item to make him a caster and just make him a caster right out the gate. Eltharion wields a spear and a sword, as well as being a caster of high magic. This offers him the flexibility to alter his role in battle based on the circumstances at hand. His defense-focused abilities also make him excellent at holding firm battle lines. So I'm stoked. We get him on his Griffin, Stormwing. How sick is that? And we get him as a hybrid caster lord. And we've already seen that throughout the majority of Total War Warhammer 2's lifetime, that those hybrid caster lords tend to be the better lords in a army. So I'm stoked to see how strong Eltharion really is in the game. The Archmage coming to the table here with access to all 8 cores of the Winds of Magic. So that mage that you saw during the trailer was indeed a Archmage. Rangers are the new unit that we saw in the trailer as well, the dual-wielding characters that we saw slicing and dicing their way through things. The Silveran Guard are a new heavy spear unit for the High Elves. The Silveran Guard are tasked with defending the Watchstone of Tor Ivris, a waystone of fabulous power. The War Lions of Trace, so those individualistic lions we saw just swiping their way through goblins, boom, covered right there in those War Lions of Trace. Not something I expected. So a unit probably smaller in scale than, say, a unit of Direwolves or Scurvy Dog. Probably something more along the lines of Norskin Ice Hounds, from what it looks like. You know, I mean, I wouldn't expect this thing to be a unit of 40 or 60. You know, I think it's probably going to be in the range of 15 or 20. And then Lion Chariot of Trace, looking just badass, hot and heavy. Many of the Phoenix King's bodyguard ride to battle in lion chariots. Each of these white-timbered constructions is drawn by a pair of snarling war lions, whose savage power is belied by their feline grace and elegantly plated manes. It's going to be so cool. Then the Arcane Phoenix here, swooping down and just dive-bombing into things. I'm really stoked to see how they've done a lot of the conventions for the Arcane Phoenix, because we've talked about this quite a bit in 2 videos now, and just the Grom the Paunch, the Warden and the Paunch DLC speculation video, and Arcane Phoenix's own specific video. So we'll see how this makes its way into the game in the coming days. Then we get the campaign exclusive units for Eltharion, the Sky Hawks. Always standing ready to fight to the death if necessary. So, little ambiguous there. The Sentinels of Asterol, former training partners of the Warden himself in his youth. So it seems like these guys are very ambiguous in their naming. Knights of Tor Gaval. God, that's sick sounding. The Athel Tamara Faith Bearers. So we'll figure out what these guys are in the coming days as we dive deep on the High Elf portion of the DLC. The new regiments of renown are the Talons of Tor Kalida, the archers with light armor, are an elite unit of archers who serve the Prince of Kalidor. So no real hint on what this could mean for their archers with light armor. If they have maybe special attacks, I bet you they're probably going to have like flaming or magic attacks, maybe even AP, which would be amazing for a high elf archer unit. with their range and everything. So I'll be stoked to see what that is. Rahagra's Pride, a War Lions of Trace, Regiment Renown unit, awesome. Omen of Syrian, an Arcane Phoenix, Regiment Renown. So plenty of stuff coming with the High Elves. I don't think we need to cover everything else about this DLC. I think that's the only thing that's really important. Oh, some of you guys are Greenskin fans. So let's go into this whole Grom the Paunch Broken Axe. So Grom has an insatiable appetite, as his girth attests to. In a Grom campaign, you'll find a variety of ingredients around the world, which to cook up a range of recipes. By combining different ingredients in Grom's cauldron, Grom and his boys will be able to feast and gain special powers. I like the sound of that. That is really sick. And it also kind of teases at a possible Ogre Kingdom mechanic maybe for game 3. I mean, that's the bare bone. That's like the base discussion of like the cauldron for Greasus, right? Like there are so many eating mechanics for the Greenskin or for the Ogre Kingdoms that maybe this is them kind of pre-testing that. So let's be really mindful of how Grom's cauldron works. Unlock a wide range of different ingredients from campaign exploration and by meeting the Troll Hag food merchant. You know, combine ingredients to form dishes, each of which provides unique buffs to Grom and his army. Some dishes can add special units to Grom's army, and cooking up and sampling a certain number of dishes will permanently enhance Grom himself. And Grom the Paunch, we know, is this oversized, disgustingly huge goblin because he ate troll meat, and that troll meat kind of like regenerated and regurgitated in his system and made him to be this huge monstrosity that he is today. He'll eat anything. This guy's disgusting. So I like that real heavy nod to his both lore and everything. So Blacktooth. During Grom's legendary war, his most trusted shaman, Old Blacktooth, nearly brought destruction to Ulthuan and beyond by felling the elven wastestones and drawing their power into himself. Bane intervened in the form of Eltharion, who separated Blacktooth's head neatly from his shoulders. But the shaman's surging power helped him to cheat true death. His disembodied head serves his master still. I was about to say, isn't he dead? But I like that little fix in there. While Niblet is Grom's chief advisor, Blacktooth will, from some time to time, utter guidance to Grom, delivering tasks and molding the journey to his inevitable and decisive showdown with Eltharion. Blacktooth's head will take on the role of a special item in Grom's campaign. He may be assigned to a shaman, granting the ability to summon a rogue idol in battle. Whew. So we have Grom the Paunch himself, his trusty Night Goblin assistant, Niblet. Grom is always mounted atop the chariot of Grom itself. So, whew. Stoked to kind of dive in on that in the coming days. The giant river hag is a troll hero being added to the Greenskins. It's a lore of Deathcaster, as well as an ability to shape the winds of magic as they stir their brackish waters, which they dwell. Snotling pump wagons in the 3 variants here. The pump wagon rumbles under its own power with momentum provided by snotlings, who frantically pump crude contraptions and cranks to drive the belts to turn the wheels. We have the Flappers variant. This allows the pump wagon to make a short jumps as it bounces along. And the spiky roller version, which I'm going to assuming has got like some sort of like probably AP or some sort of additional spiky roller damage going on. And we've got river trolls and stone trolls. Talked about this as hopefully being added to the game, and we're getting it hot and heavy here. So we get some river troll action. Let me see. This one can add the troll's personal miasma to the ill-omened melange of odors emitted from the mucky smears on its skin. So maybe there's some sort of like AoE debuff as part of it. It's aroma. And stone trolls, natural magical inertia, which imbues them with a certain degree of magical resistance. Okay, so let's see, of course, magical resistance is going to be built into them. But I was hoping to see if there was like, oh, this one's got a breath attack or something like that. River trolls have breath attacks in all of the art for Warhammer, so I didn't know if they would take that and do something with it. But we've got the Rogue Idol coming in as well. Not a lot on this, it just kind of pretty much describes it. Then we've got the Regiments of Renown with a Snotling Pump Wagon, the Swamp Things for the River Trolls, which cause terror and have poison attacks. Interesting, so it looks like they don't have that innately. De Biggin, which is a Rogue Idol Regiment of Renown, and I'm stoked to hear on that. So, we have got a lot of stuff to cover in the coming days, guys. We will be able to jump into this, and I'll tell you a little bit about my plans as that unfolds, and as I actually get my hands on the DLC and get playing for myself. There's river trolls. So we will see what comes in the coming days. Be ready. We're going to have plenty of coverage of the content, as I always do. Look at the river hag. Look at her lifeless eyes. And then we're also going to be covering definitely an Eltharion campaign. Imrik, Eltharion, and Grom, all probably going to be amazing, fun, interesting campaigns, but Eltharion's my boy, and that's what we'll be covering. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, all that kind of fun action. Let me know what you're stoked about the most with this DLC, because I couldn't be happier. But all right, have a good one, and take care.